You're being distracted. While attention drifts to cozy indexes and auto-enroll safety nets, something far more seismic just moved under the radar. This summer's real story isn't in a fun brochure. It's buried in quiet lines of a White House order that just cracked open the runway for rockets, satellites, and defense-grade data. And it's about to reach into the backbone of the real economy: communications grids, supply chains, surveillance, and situational awareness, energy monitoring, maritime lanes, farm yields, disaster response, the stuff that actually moves cash registers and secures borders. Take a breath. Warm the cup. No foam, no fluff. The figures ahead are straight espresso. Roll back to August 13th, 2025. Washington drops an order with a bland label, enabling competition in the commercial space industry, and then quietly flips three big switches that change how fast America can build and fly. First switch. Transportation is told to cut dead time, trim or fast-track environmental reviews for launch and return when the footprint is negligible, and use narrow categorical exclusions so routine, low-impact steps don't spend months in a binder. Less waiting, more flying. Second switch. FAA Part 450 gets the scalpel. Keep what truly protects life and property. Strip what slows the cadence without adding safety. If a vehicle carries automated flight safety or modern flight termination gear, the rule set shouldn't treat it like a relic. Precision regulation, not blanket friction. Third switch. Commerce must stand up a lane with a clock for new type missions under Article 6 of the 1967 treaty. That lane covers the weird but valuable: in-orbit assembly, robotic servicing, refuelers, station-keeping tankers, debris cleanup, lunar logistics, in-space manufacturing. In other words, a pathway out of demo land and into signed customers, service-level agreements, and revenue days. Net effect. Bottlenecks get carved back. More launch windows. Faster spaceport work. Clear yes/no calls on missions within set timeframes. Not someday. A clock. You can already feel the tempo. The FAA crossed 1,000 licensed commercial operations. It took decades to reach 500, just a few years to double it. 2024 closed with roughly 260 orbital attempts worldwide. Cadence decides cash. Windows are oxygen. If you've sat on a trading desk, you know the rule: throughput wins. Here's your jolt. Those quiet lines are aimed squarely at system capacity. Not PR, not vibes. Capacity. How many missions the ecosystem can execute on schedule without breaking airspace, range staffing, or downstream logistics. Most folks will gawk at rocket counts and payload tons. That's scoreboard. The edge is throughput. How often you can rotate vehicles, turn pads, and light engines with confidence that approvals, airspace, telemetry, recovery ops, and workforce all snap into place. What capacity unlock actually does. Faster approvals, thicker manifests. More satellites turn on each quarter, which means more data sold to telecom, AG, mining, energy, maritime, insurance, logistics, finance, and public sector buyers. Every live node expands the grid. Every constellation unlocks new SKUs: broadband, imaging, radio occultation, AIS and ADS-B tracking, wildfire detection, methane monitoring, maritime dark fleet watch, cross-border freight visibility. Spaceport work stops crawling. Interagency reviews sync, duplicate loops die, ground system upgrades move. Each upgrade pulls future flights forward on the calendar. Weird becomes billable. New type missions finally get a lane to authorized status. That's how a refueler becomes an invoice, how an orbital tug becomes a service contract, how debris cleanup becomes a fee schedule, and how in-space manufacturing becomes recurring revenue instead of a science fair video. And the slope is clear. Credible roadmaps put the space economy north of 1 trillion within the coming decade and bending toward around 2 trillion by the mid-2030s. The exact year is noise. The trajectory is the signal, and this order steepens it by shaving months off each cycle. Why the math scales to trillions. Think of capacity unlock as 3 engines meshing. Engine A, launch and range time. More carve-outs for low-impact actions. Fewer duplicate reviews. Better airspace choreography. That yields higher cadence and shorter cycle time. If a pad turns in 3 to 5 days instead of 7 to 10, you don't get a marginal gain. You get a compounding one, because learning curves steepen when cycles are dense. Crews get sharper. Refurb windows tighten. Inspection checklists compress without losing safety. The entire machine learns faster. Engine B, spaceport flow. Interagency alignment and use all authorities language translate into faster upgrades. New cryofarms, stronger deluge systems, expanded staging areas, more telemetry stations, better lightning mitigation, smarter range control rooms. Even one extra weekly slot across key sites is a step function in annual launches. Think, 52 more windows a year at a single pad cluster. That's not just more. That's the difference between backlog and backlog cleared. Engine C, mission green lights. A clear lane with deadlines for servicing, refueling, in-space fabs, tugs, cleanup, and inspection drones turns R&D demos into billable services. Once that gate exists, the product catalog multiplies. A tanker becomes a subscription. A debris tug becomes a sweep contract. A robotic arm becomes an on-call mechanic. Industrial revenue arrives, not just comms and imaging. Stack A plus B plus C. And the trillion-dollar claim stops being an eyebrow raiser and starts looking like the median case. Because now you're not waiting on a memo, you're saturating calendars. Who captures the spread first and second and third? Launch firms with flight-ready hardware capture the first wave. Every incremental slot is billable. Reuse cycles tighten. Turnaround time becomes a moat. Teams that can swap engines, rewire harnesses, and certify pads overnight take market share from those who can't. Constellations and data sellers lock recurring revenue as uptime and refresh rates climb. LEO broadband, ISR, SAR, hyperspectral, radio occultation, AIS/ADS-B, wildfire, and methane monitoring. All of it monetizes better when you can add birds on schedule, retire laggards, and roll new sensors without waiting quarters for a slot. Dual-use defense gains resilience and cost control. Assured access lowers unit costs and hardens national systems. Secure comms, missile warning layers, space domain awareness, weather for ops, all of it lives on schedules. Schedules are money. Ground and cloud are sleeper winners. More passes, more ground stations, more edge nodes, more fiber backhaul, more cloud ingest and analytics, more latency-aware routing. If you sell dish farms, optical terminals, packet shaping, tasking dashboards, or time-critical data services, this is harvest season. Ecosystem vendors selling the guts in plumbing, materials, valves, sensors, avionics, guidance, thermal and power, optics. See order books swell when the calendar fills. Those who can prove reliability at volume and deliver spares on demand become irreplaceable. Done right. Spaceports align reviews. Pads and crews turn faster. Constellations refresh on time. Debris risk drops with disciplined exits. Airlines keep schedules. Underwriters tighten spreads. Defense buyers sign multi-year blocks because delivery risk falls. Learning curves steepen as cycles compress. The result isn't a lucky year, it's a machine that compounds every quarter. Done sloppy. Local fights drag schedules. Spectrum filings jam. A couple of debris scares hit the front page and the rule set snaps tighter. Airspace disruptions spark public blowback. Underwriters widen rates. Capital gets cautious. The calendar thins. Rivals, domestic or foreign, take the windows you surrender. So watch the three dials that matter. Cadence, weekly, monthly, quarterly flight counts, pad turns, recovery turnaround, refurbishment cycles. Spaceport upgrades, new tanks, new towers, new tracking, new deluge, new procedures, new crews trained to the playbook. Mission clocks. Deadlines for authorizations, not vibes. Dates on the calendar, not we'll see. That's where the next trillion hides. Not in slogans, in dials that move and keep moving. If you want straight, no fluff breakdowns when rules shift and markets re-rate, hit subscribe and ring the bell. Guard the coffee. Guard the edge. Context beats clickbait, always. History rhymes. Power rebrands. Stay inquisitive.